This is unexpectedly guide UFC raised to slam Makhachev and ready to deprive him of the title. Israel Adesanya officially called the name of his next opponent. Kai Barali made a new declaration. Khamzat Evlov Chumiva also admitted that the leadership of the UFC wouldn't give him a title chance. Became known when Shavkat Rakhmonov will return to the octagon. Conor McGregor unexpectedly reached out and told when ready to return to the UFC, but in the meantime Arman Tsarukyan made a statement addressed to Dan Hooker's. All this I tell in this video. I have for you just one request: just put like under this video and subscribe to miss a new video. But as we begin, a former champion of UFC on the average weight, Israel Adesanya, formally instructing the organization's leadership that he was ready to return to the octagon, and he called the name of the opponent with whom he wants to spend the next match. Here is what they did. I didn't spend an hour after my last fight because the burn head, but then I spent sparring with Kamaru Usman and realized that I wanted to play again. I got in touch with Hunter. Campbell said it was time. I just felt that I need to wreck it. Sean Strickland, I want to take revenge. He defeated me, but this time I will do it right, and I'm ready. I heard a lot, and he used that attack the young me of my inner child, but now I will protect him and return the favor. I'll do it, said Israeli, and he recalled that in September, the 23rd year of Israel Adesanya lost the championship belt, the UFC middleweight title, after 5 rounds after losing to Sean Strickland via unanimous decision. After that, Izzy suffered 2 early defeats after losing Drico the judge of Sai and Nasidanova Mavova. Meanwhile, Sean Strickland lost the championship belt in his first defense of losing a split decision to Dricus du Plessis. After this strike, defeated Paulo Costa and again took the title fight with Dricus, but this time lost to the champion by unanimous decision of the 6th number of the middleweights in the UFC. Kerala, counting on the fact that the league organizes his duel with Khamzat by Semivis and knows what to do to win, unaware of the defeat of Khamzat. That says barely critical point of the first round in the opening round. I do not have the right for a mistake, then the fight will become everything to me, better and better, and in the end, I knock him out in the 4th or 5th round and can be confident we'll win. Solution dominance in the last 3 rounds, said Kai barely in an interview. To remind you that Khamzat's Chimaev plan next to share the octagon with Dricus du Plessis, but last week, the reigning champion of the division was injured and was eliminated from the match, which again was not officially announced but was to be held on 27 June at UFC 317. Meanwhile, Kai barely hurried up in one of the first to volunteer to replace Dricus, offering to play in the fight interim championship belt, while the Brazilian made it clear that at the moment, the battle is in the discussion, but the team Khamzat and league representatives have not yet confirmed this information to the champion of UFC featherweight champion Alex Volkanovski holds that title battle with Masram Yevloyev is critical to his legacy. However, MAFs are not sure that will be the next opponent of the current champion of the UFC, as management continues to ignore it. That said, MAFs is not even a hint of it. As I understand, the UFC is trying to maximally keep me far away from all that is connected with the title. I was at the tournament where he played Volkanovski Lopez, and after the fight I had the opportunity to talk with the UFC, but they didn't want, and when the tournament ended, we went through the corridor, and close to me 10 meters was the Wolf. Talked with the fans, took pictures, and I wanted to go up to talk to him, to congratulate him in person, to ask about the battle. But the guards did not give me this opportunity and took me in the opposite direction. This once again suggests that who the UFC wants to see in the battle for the belt, that harshness, and down below was a story apparently in their eyes. I'm not worthy of the title. Give me a chance to prove that I'm worthy. If 9 wins, best organization in the world, is not enough, I'm ready for another 9 times to speak, said Masur Yevloyev. Remind you that your last fight, Masur, held in December last year by unanimous decision, winning Alabama Sterling coach Shavkat Eduard Bazarov reported as recovering his ward after the injury and when not planning to return to the octagon. That said, the coach born trains in Almaty. He is already taking certain loads. The dynamics of improvement, he can fully train, return to the cage. We plan in the fall around October. Now we cannot stand the time there is new fighters appear about the championship battle. Bela and Mayonnaise I think will win. Bela, then I hope that we can implement the fact that planning. Shavkat very much wants to hold a world title fight, said Eduard Bazarov. Recalled that in December last year, unaware of the defeat Shavkat Rakhmonov won in the candidates match at Makhachev. However, The injury was forced to surrender his title chance. Jack Dowdle and 10 May at UFC 315 tries to take the championship belt was Belal Muhammad. The former UFC double champion Conor McGregor has called the name of the opponent and the conditions under which it is willing to return to the octagon. For Conor said he still wants to close the issue with Michael Chandler, but he is willing to go to fight only if it is organized at the stadium. The Michael Chandler unfinished business. I'll be back at the stadium, Conor wrote in their social networks. What do you think of Haddish Chandler again? Michael did not remain silent and immediately replied, Conor unfinished business. Download briefly replied, Michael Chandler will remind you that 12 days ago Michael Chandler suffered a third defeat in a row, losing by TKO Petty Pemberton. Well, Conor, it is generally a separate song he has not played since July 2021 when he received a broken leg in the third match against Dustin Paul, fight in a welterweight division between McGregor and Chandler had in June last year. The positivist UFC 303, but 2 weeks before the event, Conor broke my pinky toe and withdrew from the fight. But you think viewers should Michael again to wait for Conor or not? Because in fact now in lightweight Chandler nothing, and then you can immediately get the money fight of all possible. But then again, what are the chances that Conor really ready back? I think practically no chance. But what do you think? Write your thoughts down in the comments. Top UFC lightweight Arman Zarek and shared impressions of a joint training with MMA legend Demetrius Johnson. Said Arman, Demetrius incredibly smart guy. I gladly would work out with him in a completely different style. He showed me a few new tricks. He's always working on different levels and never stagnant in one position. If he feels like they could tumble down you, he knocks you. Then again, he has all of the parties is not developed, therefore it quietly alternates combat scenes, said Roman Sorin. Also Arman, who needs to win at least one more win to confirm their right to a title fight, called easy rival among the top fighters of the division. That said, Kirsten, easy money. Dan Hooker, I'm just going to play with him. It's easy money. If I win Hooker, for me it doesn't make sense. I don't need money, I need a belt. We have some disagreements, but I know people they can talk on the internet, but in a conversation one-on-one I'm afraid to say the word. If we find ourselves with him in one room, it will be to sit in silence and listen to me, said Arman Sorin. Remind you that the novel is now the first line of weight. In his last fight he defeated Darius and Oliveira. If Islam Makhachev will refuse to speak with Ilia Topuria and decide to climb behind the title welterweight, Islam will have to vacate the championship with UFC lightweight champion who will compete Topuria and Charles Oliveira. Insider information shares. Sports Spanish explorer Alva of Colmenero previously reported that Topuria 100% take part in the UFC 317, which will be held on 27 June. Clarification: there will be no interim title. This fight is for current or vacant belt, no other options, wrote in the social network reporter close to the team Topuria. This information also confirms a sports columnist Ariel Helvani. That's what he said to Elijah. Topuria will be performing at International Fight Week, and this is the current battle for the championship belt. The question is whether it is relevant to the current title and the battle with the slum or the fight for the vacant belt. If you want to know my opinion, the fight against Topuria Oliveira is not so bad. It's bigger than the fight Khamzat Chimaev against Dricus du Plessis, and certainly more than the fight against Chimaev. Barely, said Real Helvani. Note that Ilia Topuria today officially announced the start of training camp, and the question of his opponent will be decided according to the results of the title fight between Mohamed Belal and Jack Almadina. Makhachev's not going to make Belal, as he considers him a friend, but in the case of his defeat, Islam Rasa called Maidleen if he becomes the new champion.